Hey guys, it's Sam, and it's a normal time-lapse art video with me doing voiceover. Very exciting. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to do some comic artwork that wasn't comic pages. The last video I talked about my comic and showed off some of my process of making one of the pages, and I don't know, it just feels kind of like it's been a bit since I've sort of made just more of a loose digital painting. It's kind of hard to describe, but like I just wanted to do some comic art, but I wanted it to be a little bit faster and just I don't know. I don't really know what I wanted, but I drew this. So these are the two main characters of my comic, Lil and Zeph, just kind of, having some nice time together. A couple of years ago, I drew another piece of them together. It was like in front of a lake with a giant galaxy. I definitely think that one's better than this one. And this wasn't meant to like beat that one, but I kind of wanted a similar vibe with that other one. So that's kind of the idea going into this drawing. So here, the comic takes place in winter, which is why a lot of the drawings I do of the characters and everything is winter related. So, yeah, they're on like a cliff hillside thing, looking over some trees and some mountains, and I wanted the northern lights in there. And this was a lot of experimenting for me, a lot of firsts. Well, not a lot of firsts, but there was at least one first, which was the Northern Lights. And I'll put a link to the tutorial I used in the description. It was actually very helpful. The artist used Photoshop. Yeah, they used Photoshop. But it's pretty, like, you can do a lot of the same stuff in other digital programs. So followed that tutorial, and it was actually pretty interesting. And I don't know, just trying something new and just kind of going at it. It's always an interesting experience. And I learned a lot, and I liked it. And I kind of want to do more with it. I don't know what yet, but who knows? Maybe in the future I'll do some more Northern Light paintings. But it was a lot of fun to try out this different technique, and also had to reorient some stuff, as you just saw with the rule of thirds. I kind of wanted to have like a singular point of interest that they were all going to, with like my sad attempt at perspective. But another thing I wanted to try in this piece was some more photo manipulation and just trying to incorporate more photos in my artwork. Not for any particular reason aside from just general interest of, can I do it? What would it look like if I did it? What can I do with it? Like, how far can I push something? Or I don't know. It's just something that I want to play around with, and I've kind of always wanted to play around with. So that was the plan going into this one. I didn't expect it to work out as it did. I went on Pixabay, and I'll put a link in the description to the photo that I used. I used one photo, which was kind of weird to me. I've done like the most minor of photo editing into my digital artworks in the past, and I normally have done like multiple different kinds of pictures, but in this one it was literally one photo, and it just worked out like so perfectly. I was like, oh, okay, my work here is done. But yeah, I was really shocked and super happy at how well, and just like, if you just look at it like right away, it just like works. It was exactly what I had in mind. I'm like, this is amazing. But it obviously looks like a photo, and I wanted to have it look like it belonged in the digital painting, and that's something, like I said, with the photo manipulating, I want to try and do. So it's not just putting the photo in there. It's like you want to make it look like, maybe not necessarily that it belongs. It belongs in this particular one. Like, I want it to belong in this particular one. But perhaps in other photo manipulation projects, maybe I want to experiment with in the future, are like just the background is a photo, but the front is a character. And I've done that before, but it was like, it was not trying. It was just like, let me just put some space filler here. But I want to try more and have it seem a little bit natural, but like, it's a photo, but it still works. But for this one, I wanted to have the photo be more of like, okay, this belongs in this digital painting. So it took a little bit of time and a lot of patience, but it's definitely much less time and much less patience spent, I guess, had I painted all of this by myself. And I also I would like, not need to, but I would really like to figure out a lot of fast painting brush techniques. I want to go fast, and I want to get stuff done fast, and just doing things like using brushes and photos. And I know there's going to be purists out there who are like, that's cheating. How dare you you're not building your own program from scratch and getting all the parts for your tablet handmade, and like, I don't care, bro. I just want to make art, okay? I just, you only have so many years on this planet, and I want to have fun, and I want to just crap out as much as I can of just as much art and see what happens. So that's kind of the idea behind this. And plus, my wrist is another factor for why I want to try and push these things more. And plus, another factor, there's a lot of factors here, is you guys. I want to try and figure out speedier methods and shortcuts and fast things, just so you guys can have those things too. So like, once I figure something out, I can share that with you guys. And then maybe if you guys want to try it out, or if you have like health issues or whatever that you want to create art, but there's a debilitation there, then maybe these techniques can help you guys. So I have a couple reasons for wanting to do it, but yeah, so most of this was just a lot of painting over and trying to get a little bit more consistency with the colors, because it was a photo that was like a separate piece from my initial digital painting. I had to do a couple of adjustment layers for changing some of the colors to make them fit better. Plus, the picture was taken during the day, and this is a night scene, so I had to do some, I think I'd like desaturated a bit and toned down some of the colors. I overlaid, I think, some blues just to kind of cool everything down. And at the bottom here, I did use an additional photo. I forgot about that, but it's not at all noticeable. It was like super fast, really quick. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was just to add a little bit of grain to the ground, and I don't even know if it made that much of a difference, but it's there. And then yeah, so I'm all over the place, sorry. With this snow, I was kind of going with my techniques I've done before, but I don't know. I need to do some more like paint studies instead of just painting. But I wanted it to be more flat. I didn't want these to be like really big clumps of snow. So having the shadows be pretty short helped with that, I think. And then I also wanted a little bit of reflection from the northern lights. I did look at photos, and you don't really get that much reflection unless there's water. Like, unless there's like a lake or something, like, you're not gonna get too much color in reflection from the northern lights. So I wanted to bump it up a little bit just so you could see it a little bit more, make it a little bit more interesting. And plus, all the green is at the top, and it would look weird if there wasn't green like elsewhere. So that's part of why I incorporated some more of the green. I did it like a touch in the trees in the midground, and then obviously I did it more on the snow in the foreground, and then later on with the characters I add a little bit around the edges. And speaking of the characters, there's just one part that bothered me that I literally just finished the painting like an hour or two ago, and I was like, all right, let's just record for the video. There's a little issue, and I'm just too lazy to fix it. It's just not worth it. I want to move on to the next thing. But just the glove and the scarf for Lil, the one I'm coloring right now, the brown one, is just too different. The colors are too different, but I'm too lazy to fix it. So it'll be what it'll be, and that's it. But yeah, nothing too exciting here with the characters. Mostly just going in from the start. I like to use soft light and just hit the values first, and like don't even think about color, because it's even with traditional art, like you can change color for most traditional art. Like if you're doing watercolor, acrylic, or oil, doing a wash is the easiest thing. Mostly I just wanted to get my values down first. So same thing with digital painting. Get the values down, you can change the colors later. Like, I know some people maybe don't like that because it's, again, a purist thing of like, oh, you should know what colors to use from the start. Like, bro, chill, okay? The world's not ending, all right? So, yeah, going in, painting and all of that. And I really struggled with Zeph's skin, with her hands. So I definitely want to try and do some studies of like people in dark situations, not dark situations, dark lighting, that's the word. So yeah, that's another thing I would like to do. Just all the studies, you know, all the learning. And I was a little lazy with the hands. Don't know if you guys can tell. I was like, how far can I go without using references? Oh God. I need references. So I had to awkwardly pose with my own hands trying to get the same angles. Couldn't get the same angles, but got close enough, and I think it helped a little bit in terms of it. But I eventually just gave up and was like, I don't want to work on this anymore. Let's go to the next thing. Because it just gets to a point where I'm not going to learn much more from this. There's not really much more point in pushing it. I got what I wanted out of this piece, which was mostly the northern lights and the midground. That was the goal of this piece, and I reached it. So the foreground didn't really matter to me as much. Excuse me. So yeah, I was more lazy with that aspect, but yeah, I don't really have a comment on that anymore. So most of this now is just the foreground characters. I also realized I probably should have incorporated a little bit more thumb, maybe. And that other hand, Zeph's hand, the one that's on the screen right now, maybe not, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think I have much else with this piece. If you guys would like to read my comic, it's up, available for you to read right now. I'll have links in the description. You can read it both on Tapas and on Patreon. And if you would like to read ahead, Patreon is like 30 something pages ahead. And yeah, it's a super exciting comic. Lots of things happen. There's a whole lot of dialogue. Just the entire thing is just people nonstop talking. Lots of action, drama. Like, the first page is already just an explosion. It's gonna keep your attention for a long time. Anyway, I guess another thing I can quickly talk about is just my black and white layer, where I was checking my values. Very important thing to do. Just want to make sure there's a good balance and there's nothing too overtly distracting. Like, I didn't realize her hands were so bright as they were. And the rule of thirds, I pulled that up again just to make sure that, because it's not just your composition, you know, that you want to make sure is balanced. It's your values, it's your colors, like everything. So I was using that little grid again to try and help with the placement of the values, like where should the important spots be. And then I realized I kind of screwed up with my lighting still, and I had to use a levels layer because just to kind of quickly adjust that. And that's essentially it. That's, oh, I did one last adjustment to the Northern Lights thing because it felt too unbalanced with the big ones all on one side. But then, yeah, that's about it. That's the picture. So hopefully you guys liked it. If you guys are working on any projects this month, feel free to let me know how that's going in the comments down below. And if you want to read my comic, where you can find out more about these two characters, links in the description down below. So thanks so much for watching. Bye!